I want to turn now to another major successor of the Roman Empire, Islam. Although Islamic civilization would eventually come to rule vast territories that had once belonged to Rome, it differed from the other successor states in one striking way. Islam was not the product of centuries of gradual political development or elite reform. Instead, it emerged from the life and teachings of a single individual who began not as a conqueror or king, but as the founder of a religious movement. The word Islam means submission or surrender to God, and a person who submits is known as a Muslim. At the heart of the faith is a simple creed. There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet. Allah, it is important to emphasize, is not a new or different deity, but the same God worshipped by Jews and Christians. What was new was Muhammad himself, regarded by Muslims as God's prophet and the final messenger in a long line that included figures such as Moses and Jesus. To understand the rise of Islam, then, we must begin with Muhammad's life. Muhammad was born sometime between 570 and 580 in the city of Mecca, located along the Red Sea coast of the Arabian Peninsula. At the time, Mecca was a largely pagan religious center, drawing pilgrims who worshipped many gods, spirits, and sacred omens. These pilgrimages were economically lucrative, helping to make Mecca an important commercial hub. Through trade and travel, the city was also exposed to a wide range of religious ideas. Jewish and Christian beliefs, along with traditions from various mystery religions, circulated among its people, and Muhammad's later teachings would frequently reference these traditions. Muhammad was born into the Hashim clan, a respected group within Mecca's trading elite. His early life, however, was marked by hardship. His father died before he was born, and his mother passed away when he was only 6 years old, leaving him an orphan raised by relatives. As a young man, Muhammad entered the service of a wealthy widow named Khadija, a distant relative who employed him as a trader. Impressed by his character and abilities, Khadija eventually proposed marriage. Although unusual by modern standards, this match reflected the social realities of the time. Khadija was older, wealthier, and of high status. Muhammad accepted, and the marriage gave him both financial security and social standing. The couple had 4 daughters, and although polygamy was common among Arab men, Muhammad remained monogamous for as long as Khadija lived. Like many Arab men of his era, Muhammad periodically withdrew into the desert for meditation and reflection. Around the year 610, during one such retreat, he experienced a transformative event that Muslims call the Night of Power. According to Islamic tradition, the angel Gabriel appeared to him and delivered a message from God, commanding Muhammad to return to Mecca and proclaim divine truth to his people. This marked the first of a series of revelations that would continue for the rest of his life. Muhammad's message was simple but demanding. Humanity must submit to God. True submission, he taught, required 3 things. First, belief, faith in God alone. Second, the obligation to do what is right and ensure that justice prevails. Third, the duty to avoid wrongdoing and prevent injustice. Muhammad warned that there would be a day of judgment when God would evaluate every person according to these standards. Initially, Muhammad attracted only a small group of followers. Mecca, accustomed to hearing many religious voices, showed little reaction at first. This tolerance ended around 615, when Muhammad's message became more confrontational. He no longer merely suggested that Mecca's traditional gods were lesser beings, he declared that they were false and powerless. This challenged not only religious tradition, but the city's economy, which depended heavily on pagan pilgrimage. Opposition hardened into persecution, and Muhammad and his followers faced mounting hostility. In 619, the situation worsened dramatically with the death of Khadija, Muhammad's wife and most loyal supporter. Seeking safety and survival for his community, Muhammad looked beyond Mecca. In 622, he and his followers migrated to the nearby town of Medina. This journey, known as the Hijra, marks the beginning of the Islamic calendar. In Medina, Muhammad emerged not only as a religious leader, but also as a political and military one, uniting the community under his authority. To provide for his followers and pressure Mecca, Muhammad authorized raids on Meccan caravans. In 623, he led a small force of 305 men to intercept a caravan near the town of Badr, defended by approximately 900 Meccan warriors. Against the odds, Muhammad's forces won a decisive victory. For many Arab tribes, who valued bravery and martial success, this triumph suggested that Muhammad's God was truly powerful. Support for Muhammad grew rapidly as tribes aligned themselves with his movement. Tensions between Mecca and Medina continued until 630, when Muhammad marched on Mecca at the head of a large army. Facing overwhelming force, Meccan leaders surrendered. Muhammad entered the city peacefully, granting forgiveness to its inhabitants and distributing gifts, gestures that helped establish unity and legitimacy. With Mecca secured, Muhammad began organizing a state governed by Islamic principles, issuing laws that regulated religious practice and daily life. In this respect, Islam resembled Judaism more than Christianity, emphasizing detailed legal and moral codes. In 632, concerned that pagan traditions still lingered at Mecca's shrines, Muhammad organized a large Muslim pilgrimage and introduced rituals intended to replace older practices. Only months after completing this journey, he died. This final pilgrimage became one of the most sacred events in Islamic history. Today, participation in the pilgrimage to Mecca, the Hajj, remains one of the central religious duties of every Muslim.